Welcome back to part 2 of the special Mother's Day edition of the Up-Level Dairy podcast brought to you in partnership with AHV. If you missed part 1, take a moment to listen back and hear how these 3 strong dairy women began their start in the agriculture industry, how they've learned to manage family and business, advocating for dairy, and most importantly, being the best moms they can be. In this episode, we dive a bit deeper into the toll that it takes on your health, from farm mom guilt to emotional boundaries, and how these women are learning to give themselves grace, draw the line, and protect their own mental and physical health. It's a timely reminder that even the strongest women need support too. This episode is brought to you by AHV. AHV Animal Health Visions helps empower their customers as entrepreneurs that embrace innovations in animal health. As a knowledge center, they are a leader in the field of quorum sensing innovations and advisory services for optimal animal health, with programs that focus on improving key areas such as udder health, uterine health, reproduction, and more. AHV celebrates the health and success of the dairy cow and is also proud to honor and celebrate dairy farm moms who are making a difference today and every day.
You know, talk about the 3 of you being farm moms. You're moms to your kids that you gave birth to. You are moms to a lot of animals, but your husbands. We're not going there. But you take on this nurturing role with people and employees. And I know that all of you do it. And so just talk about how your role has expanded as a mom to take care of a lot more than just the kids you gave birth to.
I kind of caught myself getting somewhat emotionalist, losing that emotion because being around all these men who have conflict, talk about it and then move on. Right. And they're not going home and thinking about it and not sleeping about it and calling their sisters about it and worrying about it. And 5 years ago, and we're still worried about it. But so I kind of caught myself kind of being one of the guys, and it's going to be like this and that. But I'm like, no, wait, I bring that uniqueness to our team because I am the only woman, the only mom. And so I can see things from a little different perspective. Mm-hmm. That's where I struggle a little bit sometimes with employees because I don't always have Katy Katzman business manager hat on. Sometimes that mom hat slips on too. And I want, mother hen and take care of everyone. And sometimes you got to draw those lines in the sand.
Yeah. It's funny by me, and again, not as many employees, right? But I think because my dad, my brother, who I work with, have no emotion and then harder personalities. It's funny how much employees will come to me with issues and problems and questions. And I'm like, I'm not really the right contact for this, and then sometimes that even makes creates more conflict, right? Sometimes. But it is. I think our hearts are just always in everything. We care so darn much about everybody and everything we do and what's going on. So it can be challenging, but I think it's what makes us who we are.
Mm-hmm. This morning, I have an employee who has a tooth that needs to be pulled. And I'm messaging with my friend last night, probably 9 p.m., who runs the dental clinic. And she's like, yes, bring him in, And so I'm worrying to make sure that employee is getting, to his dentist appointment this morning while I'm screwing around doing what I need to do to get out the door to make the 2-hour drive to join you ladies this morning. Sometimes the employees are always on your mind, just like your own family is, because they become part of your family.
We call them our work family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had one that started out feeding calves with me and continued moving into different roles and stuff, and he decided to leave for another opportunity, which I'm happy to say he came back.
But you called me. I called her
crying
when he left and when he came back, right?
We had a lunch for him, and we're all kind of talking, and my mom and I are crying, and I'm like, what am I doing? That's what makes us who we are too. I just had an employee that was so amazing with the calves. Like, if I didn't catch him petting the calf or rubbing on the calf once, it was like 100 times, But he had some family issues, and he went back home, and you have no idea how many messages I've gotten via Facebook Messenger on how much he misses the farm and misses his babies and misses his. And he said, "Oh, with this baby," you know what I mean? But I can't stress creating a positive work experience for not only your family but your employees. I mean, I just see the difference in the employees that were at the second site that we bought versus ours, and they're just as much a part of our family. We couldn't do what we do without them.
Absolutely.
And I just I can't say enough about our employees.
So have the employees at the new site gotten to know Mama Katy? Are you
not as much as I would like. I said that's kind of one of my new goals, is to get down there more often. Because even the 3 that moved down there, I said whenever I see them, I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna hug me or shake my hand or rest me. No, they're like, no, they're so happy to see me and show me what they've all done again, and show me all.
Like when you really think about it, I mean, your employees can come from a lot of different places. Some of them may have grown up right down the road, and some of them may have family that's so far away that you are the closest thing to a mom for them. And some of them are young. Some of them are young, right? And so this role that you fill in their lives, just being the person that gets the conversation, right? Or being the person that's making the call to the dentist, like they are looking at you to be that figure for them, whether it's said or unsaid. Like, do you see that too? Do you see that your role as a mom is just so much bigger than maybe what you think?
I started celebrating employee birthdays probably 3 or 4 years ago. Everybody, I have them fill out a form and onboarding with their likes and dislikes, so I can put, things they like in their gift bag, and everybody gets their own cake or Tres Leches cupcakes, and I bring in fruit, milk, all sorts of things, because I think, their own mom isn't here to celebrate their birthday. When was the last time somebody may have celebrated their birthday? And do I sometimes lose my mind running around creating 45 additional birthdays when I don't even celebrate my own kids' birthdays? And they will tell you that if you ask them.
Stay fair, right?
Right. And I'm so busy creating magic, for our employees that sometimes
I had definitely
kids.
dropped the ball on that
Yeah.
at our place. I gotta catch up. I'd be, you're just making me feel so guilty sitting here right now. But that's how I feel about cooking. I mean, there are guys that I know if it wasn't for me making them a big home cooked meal, they're not married. They're living, by themselves. They wouldn't. And that's what fills my cup. And I think that's the one thing that I've always known about myself. But making others happy and doing things for others is how I survive. I mean, that's me.
And our guys won't always say thank you, but I'll catch them on the cameras in the break room taking pictures of their little birthday spread. And I'm like, that means so much to me, because I know then they're sharing that with their family.
Sure.
Right.
And it really matters.
And it does. Other than them saying a half-ass, thanks, Katy. You're like,
Right. Or when they're like, you're bringing their meal to them and they're smiling from here to here. And, that's why I do it.
Yeah. And now, Nicole, when it comes to employees, you've talked about the farm, but then there's the trucking company that you are operations manager of. So like you literally are overseeing how many truck drivers on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, not huge, but about 10.
That's a lot of truck drivers, Nicole.
And I don't know if anyone's ever talked to a truck driver, but they steal a lot of my time. And I shouldn't say steal, but to talk about, Katy and Katy, I think we're just givers, right? And we want to see people happy and thriving. And a lot of times, yes, that takes time out of our day. And then, steals time from other things. But I think we see the importance and the value, right, of really caring for employees and listening to them and, bringing that emotion and connection to the table. So yes, I think we all have it in different forms.
Yeah. And it's interesting. You talked about this before, Katy, of balancing that like kind of that nurturing, side with what is also around you all the time. And that's kind of this, like, I don't want to say non-nurturing, but kind of what a lot of men bring to the table, right? So you're like constantly balancing like your role as a mom and also kind of taking on some of that like masculine, atmosphere. I always say it like, I think a lot about my mom. And so my mom grew up, without a dad. She lost her dad when she was real young. And so it was her mom and her sisters that, were on that farm. And I always like say how my mom raised us, it was like a handkerchief in one hand and a hammer in the other, and just this analogy of like balancing that nurturing, take care of you side with the, you know what, I'm going to be a hammer when I got to be a hammer. Does that resonate with you?
Well,
Trey?
because you don't want to lose who you are, right? As a woman, but I don't want to be the emotional basket case in the corner crying because I do have emotions as a woman, So, but I like that. The hammer.
And I think for me, that's been one of my challenges, right? Even as a teacher, I go back as being stern and strict and, having rules. I'm pretty decent with my children on it, but everybody else for some reason. Right. But that I feel as I've grown in my career, maybe with age, that I've gotten better at being stricter with people, right? And setting those boundaries with people a little bit more. Still work to be done, but I think it just takes time. It takes getting run over a time or two to really watch out for yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
I don't lose my temper very often, but everybody knows when Katy loses her temper, this Katy, something is bad and it better get fixed.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like I said, I hate confrontation by every ounce of my body, but when I'm mad, and it doesn't happen very often, excuse my language, but gets done and gets right. So yeah, like I said, I think it's all just learning and growing and pivoting, Yes, pivoting.
Yeah. And I'll add to that too, like, you brought it up earlier, also of like acknowledging when maybe you just need some support, right? And I'm going to piggyback that also with what you just said, Katy Katzman, with like, sometimes as a woman, like you just naturally are supposed to have more emotions. Like we're actually supposed to, no matter how much we block it out. It's like, it's how our neurological makeup is designed. And that's why, like, I really appreciate that you brought that up, Katy, that it's okay to have support, because like the people on your farm teams, that is maybe not who they're meant to be for you. And whatever it is, if it's this group of girlfriends and we all need to sit around and have a glass of wine and have that for support, or if it's someone to go talk to that gets you out of your normal space and gives you that opportunity to just let it go. And like, sometimes we talk a lot about like mental health, but I want to reframe it because I think that is so important. But I also look at it as like performance enhancement, right? Like, can you be your best when you're harboring a lot of stuff and don't have an outlet for it? Can you be at your best? Can you volunteer? Can you be who you need to be for your family, for your husband, for the farm, if you're not doing a couple of things that help you operate at your best? And so, whatever way that might be, like, how are you finding ways to optimize your best version of you right now at this stage in life?
I'll start. Because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm a little older than you two, so a little further on in this path. Right?
Not much, Katy.
When my kids were young, our pastor started this program called Oxygen. So, when you go on a plane and they tell you to, put your own mask on first before you take care of those around you. Well, that program through our church was built around that same idea. If you aren't taking care of yourself as a mom, as a dad, how are you going to, and being the best version of that, how can you take care of those around you? Am I eating halfway decent? Am I drinking water? Is it all diet? So, I'm like, all these choices, the older you get, you got to really start making choices to be the best version of yourself. Your mental health. Are you getting clarity? It just,
Right.
put your oxygen mask on first and then help those around you. But we aren't wired like that. It has to something all working.
It's an entirely new discipline.
It is,
isn't it?
It is.
So what's your oxygen mask, Katy Grinstead?
That's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
I honestly am. I have finally realized that that's what I need to work on right now the most is me and figuring out, I did something the other day and my sister goes, "You're going to do great. Just be yourself." And I replied back, "I really kind of don't know what that looks like right now." You know what I mean? I think I'm just at a spot where the kids are older. Where does Katy fit now, And so I've made a very conscious effort, whether it's listening to, a podcast or listening to Mel Robbins' book or talking to somebody, just to kind of figure that out. And I wish more of our, whether it's our husbands or our brothers or our fathers. I mean, I hear the statistic all the time that men are way more likely to commit suicide than women.
Yeah.
And especially farm men, like people in the agricultural industry. And, that's sad. I mean, I think it's a topic that we can learn about all the new GPS technology and all the new, but maybe at some of these meetings, that has to be a bigger focus is on mental health. And because like you said, if you don't put your oxygen on first, nobody's going to make it. Right.
Yeah.
And if you stay depleted for too long,
right.
things go bad, right?
Right.
Yeah. Nicole?
I would say two things for me, and I'm also still working on them, but I'm putting them up here to try to make sure they happen. I think time away is crucial. I have a tendency where I'm like, I'm going on vacation, and then I never actually book the vacations. And then all of a sudden the time comes and goes, and then I'm like, oh, next year. Yeah. So I've said it in my head. I am going to just start getting them booked, and no matter what, it just needs to happen. I need to leave. And again, there are people there that will take care of it. The other thing for me is talking to people. And that was one of the things coming home to the farm, right? I have my family, I have employees, but I lost my colleagues and my coworkers that we'd go and have a drink and really just bond, even just getting to an office in the morning and chatting with somebody about something enjoyable. I lost that coming home. So I think for me too, it's taking time to find the people and to go meet up with them and again, I'm not currently doing the best job at that. But that I know for me, that's what I need to do. We've even had that conversation, Katy, where we do have non-egg friends or family, and it's hard. Don't get me wrong, you have fun with them, and it's a great time, but they just can't quite relate to the craziness of what our days look like.
And then they wonder, why do you do that? They're like, why wouldn't you walk away from something like that? What's wrong with you? But we love it.
Yes. But I will spin it a little different. Yeah. I love my non-farm friends too, because we don't have to talk about the weather. We don't have to talk about how bad the milk price is. We don't have to talk about, oh my gosh, we're so late getting in the fields. Sometimes it's just nice to
refreshing.
Yes. Just to talk about, life instead of the farm and only the farm. And don't get me wrong, I need both.
Right. What I'm saying.
And I do need both. And it's amazing how many of my friends are, we do talk a little farming now because I've educated them and they're worried about this or worried about the rainbow in the west because I told them what that means. And, so it's good to have, I think, a balance too.
But Nicole, when you were sharing a few minutes ago, you said the word guilt, and I saw and heard this acknowledgement between the Katys of that word guilt. And there's like a thing, called mom guilt, right? But farm mom guilt is a different level of guilt because it's so rooted in so much more.
I think we all have the personality that we want to be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
And, you can't all the time.
Because I see it as like a sense of failure.
Yeah.
If I wasn't able to fulfill that role or fulfill that need, then Katy failed.
Yeah. Like Katy said, you have the Let Them book, right? And I'm reading a Let Go of the Guilt book. So I think we're all working on it, right?
I'm reading People magazine.
Maybe you're on the right.
I mean, talk about making your life look great. Just read people.
There you go. But yeah, I think it's trying to just realize that not everything can fall on our shoulders, right? And we can do the best we can and attend as many things as we can, but some things just won't get done, won't be attended, and it'll be okay. And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. And being okay with things being okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's hard sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and I think we talked about it earlier too. Like, don't look at Facebook and think that that's what everybody's life is like. I don't put a lot of bad stuff on there. Like I use Facebook to, as my outlet, and I love when the memories pop back up in 3 years from now or whatever. But I've had not so many, but I've had some people say, I just love all your Facebook stuff and I don't know how you do it all. And I'm like, I just put the stuff I do on it. That's my outlet too.
Yeah. I think too, for me, it's how to look forward, right? Too often we're complaining, we're living in the past, and I deal with this with my family, right? I don't care what happened, it's how we move forward. What do we have to do better next time? How can we make adjustments? And that really, it's just keep improving along the way and not get sucked down in the negativity.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I think back to my own mom and grandma who worked physically much harder than I ever will in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't ever remember hearing them complain, ever. And maybe, maybe they internalized things, but they just did it.
They did. What are one of the biggest things that you've taken away from some of those women who have come before you? Nicole, I know you have a grandmother that every salesperson in Northeast Wisconsin knows because she not only was such a powerful woman, but she made sure everyone got fed.
Yeah, it's fed or told to get the hell off the property, So
one or the other. But
the hammer or the handkerchief.
Handkerchief. Yes. And so, think for a moment about the women that have came before you, the moms and the grandmas that you've had yourselves, and something that you have taken with you and carry with you in your role as a dairy farm mom today.
Yeah, I mean, I can start. You brought up Grandma Pauline, and she is a tough cookie and she's still around, but she always took care of everybody, right? That she really cared about. And again, back to the point, that's where we all are, right? Our emotions come into play, and we just want to see things turn out to be good amongst everyone. But yeah, Grandma was a tough cookie. I think I think my mom too. I think of my mom, and she wasn't per se as involved in the farm, right? She does our bookkeeping now, but she outside of the farm, right? The swearing, the rough, things going on the farm. She was always the professional front. She was always bringing just a different perspective to my upbringing, and I think that meshing with my tough, hardworking farm personality is what allowed me to turn into the person that I am. So I'm very grateful to her for that, and that's what I'm hoping I can give to my children.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the easiest question you've asked me all day. And I try not to get emotional, but when I talk about these people, it usually doesn't go well for my emotions. I would say my mom's mom, my grandma Emil, that's where I learned all my cooking or got all my love for cooking. She her job was to cook for the nuns here in town. She worked with the convent and, had the big, like, cooking for the masses. She knew how to cook for the masses. And she was quiet. She was always there for a hug. She, just, she passed away way too early, but just was a fabulous giver,
Yeah.
My grandma Boyk was tough, but she was World Dairy Expo Woman of the Year. And so I feel like I get my promotion and love for advocating for agriculture from her. My mom is super hardworking. She has all my grandma Emil's like personality when it comes to taking care of people, but she likes to work behind the scenes. And she's the quiet person that helps everybody. And I think it's such a good mix of all of them. And I feel like I definitely have a good mix of all of them.
I go back to my grandma Frida again. She'd milk cows in the morning, work full time, and come back and milk in the evening. And there could be anywhere between 3 and 12 people sitting around the kitchen table for dinner at night. And she'd have a home cooked meal for all of them. I stress out when I'm making lunch lady duty for 10, or if it jumps to 20 and I throw a fit, and I'm like, my grandma did this every night and made it happen. And then too, I didn't grow up on a farm. It was my grandparents' farm. And so my parents weren't involved in production agriculture. And to this day, I call my mom probably no fewer than 3 times a day with all my first world problems. And she listens to them and probably has no idea of like the true chaos that's going on. It's just me venting a lot of first world problems. But she's always there to listen and doesn't judge. And that's what I need. I think sometimes is somebody there to just listen and not judge.
Yeah.
Do you see how the 3 of you are the culmination of the women who have made you? And you get to bring out some of those best traits and you keep giving them on to others. If I were to sit down with your children, oh, wouldn't that be fun, right? If I were to sit down with your children and if I were to ask them, what's the most important thing you've learned from your mom? What would you hope that they would tell me?
How I treat people, and it matters.
Yeah, I was gonna say kindness and always trying to do the right thing even when nobody's watching. That's something I really feel strongly about.
Jumping in and lending a hand, right, where you can. And the other thing I thought of too, coming to this today, and I stress this to my kiddos all the time, I want to raise people who are kind and caring.
I can't echo that enough. The greatest compliment I can get from anybody has nothing to do with what I've done or what I've accomplished. It's when they tell me how much they enjoy my children, and whether it's the oldest, the youngest, the middle. I have really been trying to make a conscious effort to do that more to others. Because like I said, it's nice to get a compliment, but man, to hear somebody compliment your children, wow, that makes me feel like I've made it.
They're a product of our work.
Yes.
Your greatest work.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. So, all right, as we wrap up our time together, Nicole and Katy, what didn't we cover? What would you like to add?
I mean, I think I said it before. I think all 3 of us will sit here and say that none of us are perfect, but we all have bad days. It's how I think you get out of bed the next morning and try to start again. And for me anyway, start again and try to do better. Like I said, I love what I do. And I love the quote that says, do what you love and love what you do. And I think when you do, it shows. It shows.
Like Katy said, it's about how we overcome and really take a step up after that. That really matters. But we are by no means perfect.
Well, you don't have to be perfect to be amazing and incredible, inspiring, and to earn the respect of so many others out there. including me, one of your biggest fans of all three of you. So it's a blessing to have each of you within the little threads that tie us together, but even more so a great honor to sit with three incredible dairy moms that are making a difference every day here. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we wrap up this 2-part series, please remember this. Being a mom on the farm doesn't mean doing it all and doing it all perfect. It means doing what matters and giving yourself permission to let go of the rest, even when it's hard. Nicole, Katy Grinstead, and Katy Katzman showed us what real strength looks like. It's not perfection, it's persistence. It's not hiding the hard stuff, but talking through it. And this month is not only a month when we celebrate mothers with Mother's Day, but it's Mental Health Awareness Month too. So take a moment to reach out and check in on those other farm moms in your life and show your appreciation for everything they do. Thank you again to Nicole, Katy Grinstead, and Katy Katzman for taking the time to be so transparent about their lives and to give us an inside look at the real issues facing mothers in the agriculture industry every single day. Be sure to subscribe or follow so you'll never miss an episode of the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. And I'm your host, Peggy Coffeen. Until next time, keep on growing, keep on learning, and up-leveling your dairy. This episode is brought to you by AHV. AHV Animal Health Visions helps empower their customers as entrepreneurs that embrace innovations in animal health. As a knowledge center, they are a leader in the field of quorum sensing innovations and advisory services for optimal animal health, with programs that focus on improving key areas such as udder health, uterine health, reproduction, and more. AHV celebrates the health and success of the dairy cow and is also proud to honor and celebrate dairy farm moms who are making a difference today and every day.